Brodes Media.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into Schmoozed. Well, holy shit, do we have something to talk about. Jason Myrtetus is joining me today. What's up, dude? Wow.
Let's schmooze. Let's break out the booze.
Oh, what? I wish
It's a Diet Pepsi. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I got the fridge right here next to the studio.
You want to go balls out?
Yeah, listen. Cutter Gauthier's got me that pissed off right now.
Yeah.
So
let's sack up and get drunk.
I'll give you a little rundown on how I feel, and then I'll let you kind of run away with it. I'm pissed. I think this kid is going to be a stud, and we'll get to what you got back in return and all. But just for the right now, living in the moment, I visualized Matvey Michkov and Cutter Gauthier, and I did visualize him as the 1C. If he's only a winger, then maybe it doesn't hurt me as bad, even though he can still score a lot of goals and help out this power play. I just think the kid's a flat-out stud. And from the angle of not being able to see his journey, which I saw for years and years and years ahead when I looked ahead, it stinks. It stinks.
Yeah. I am totally I'm in the same exact headspace. Because, I woke up today and I'm like, okay, kind of the sting and all the stories are coming out and we're getting reporting on this and that and, didn't want to meet with him, all this stuff. But there's still an element of me, Hunter, that's like I'm pissed. I'm like, dude, I was invested in the kid. The kid said, I was built to be a Flyer. I had him on draft night. He was over the moon when I recorded an interview with him. He was at the draft and I'm at home. And, I saw this kid. I go, this is one of the pieces. This is what they need. They need a guy that can get up and down the ice, a big frame that shoots from everywhere, can score. Then we see the playmaking in World Juniors, and I'm going, holy shit, dude can dish, right? And he dished for 10 in that tournament. And then this happens, and I'm like, yeah, I agree. Let's put Drysdale aside for a sec.
Yeah.
I'm pit and then I hear, dude didn't want to be here. What do you mean you don't want to be here? I go full Anthony. What do you mean? You won't be here? Why do you want to be here? This is the Northeast, dude. This is great travel. You're on a bus and you sleep in your bed all the time here. It's a big market, a fervent fan base. They're building something and you don't want to be here. What's the rub? And I hear this and I go, and then you hear that he wouldn't meet with John LeClaire and Patrick Sharp back in November at a BC game. I'm going, you got balls to tell those two dudes, thanks for coming up, but I don't have time for you. And then Jonesy, Danny Briere, Patrick Sharp travel over to Sweden. That's not like jumping a flight to Dover, right? And the family or him won't sit across the table and look at him eye to eye and say, I don't want to play for the Flyers. That is a serious character issue red flag.
Yeah, 100%.
So now I'm like, you're dead to me.
I know.
I don't want you now. I want the skill. I want the player, but I don't want this guy that doesn't want to be here because I can't start a rebuild with an infection, and that now is an infection.
Right. No, I agree. And I think Jonesy and Danny Briere handled this the best. They weren't lying to us when they said they're going to be open and honest. And that's sort of my rebuttal to anyone out there making the claims that, there's got to be something else happening because why would he make such a strong commitment to this? And then I'll push back and go, well, why would Jonesy and Danny Briere, who are two very, very smart minds,
straight shooters.
Yeah, they're getting loud about this. I highly doubt that Keith Jones goes, all right, this is my first real predicament issue that I got to get out in front of. Let's just make this massive claim and stir up the pot to this crazy level. He's a very smart mind. I think he knows that Cutter Gauthier and his whole entire team is handling this like a piece of crap. And you don't see this in the NHL. This is like an NBA, NFL move.
Totally.
And this is even worse than what you see in Toronto. This isn't Austin Matthews or Mitch Marner trying to squeeze him out for a few dollars. This is a middle finger. And now he wants to go play in Anaheim or anywhere but Philly. I can't even wrap my head around it, dude.
It's like going to play in Siberia with a beach when it comes to the NHL. I go full Zach Brown band on him. I go, I got my toes in the water, ass in the sand. Nobody gives a fuck about the Ducks, and I'm fine, right?
Yeah.
Have fun, dude. But no, you're right. And I thought it was interesting. There's two elements that I like about it. First and foremost, that Jonesy Danny can operate under cloak and dagger, and nobody had a clue. This is the third time now with Danny at the helm that this regime has pulled this on us, where we had nobody, no national guys, no smoke, no fire, no nothing. First, it was that Jonesy was getting hired.
Yeah.
Nobody knew it. Somebody said to me, I think Jonesy's going to be the next. I go, what do you mean? Jonesy don't want that job. I had no clue. I've been friends with Jonesy for 25 years, right? And I'm in the organization. And people were saying the same thing in the organization. That was totally under wraps. Michkov, 4 days before the draft, comes to the Flyers training center and is playing fucking bubble hockey with his brother and his family, and he's going through the facilities. I had no idea. Nobody did. And then this, right? So they can operate under cloak and dagger. And when they need to button down the hatches, because the Flyers have been leaky over the last couple of years, and that doesn't help. So, but when the deal happens, they snap into action. 3 guys went in 3 different directions. Danny Briere went to the radio. First, he did the scrum. Second intermission, he went to the radio booth with our radio guys. Jonesy went to the TV booth. Dan Hilferty went to Snow the Goalie that was streaming live. And they all said the same thing. He doesn't want to be here. We don't want him here. Now, in the past, with Chuck Fletcher and Dave Scott, and we were just, you got a different answer no matter who you talk to. And that was a lot of people obviously not on the same page. So they acted fast. They acted right after the World Juniors when they knew his value was not going to be any higher. And they acted before it got out, because if it got out, then the leverage is gone. So for those things, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm still hurt that we're not going to have the player in the uniform because I wanted him. And I was anticipating and getting excited about him. So I'm still hurt about it and mad about that. But the way, to me, this may be the first thing in Danny Briere and Keith Jones' kind of tenure that says, this is the way we're going to operate. First things first, character. You got to want to be here and be a part of it. If you don't, then we're not going to move forward with you. End of story.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think it's just more of the logo means something again. You got to represent the brand differently. And that's why, even though there's someone playing devil's advocate with me, if you play the possum game and see if he'll really play a couple more years in college, go wherever he wants after, dude, I mean, do you really want to work around that? Daryl Morey just had to work through Ben Simmons. You need to get that stuff out of your city. And you see that with Provorov, Kevin Hayes, and no disrespect to them, but when you get that nasty garbage out of your room, it changes everything. And I think now there's a level of respect that people will have from the outside looking in at Danny, at Keith. They're not playing games. Like they just moved Cutter Gauthier, which is a big fucking deal. This thing was everywhere. Every TSN, every sports that this is nationally targeted. You got the Spit and Chicklets guys going off, even though they're biased with their Boston College hockey East crap. But anyway, it's like, I just love the fact that now, and I'll say this too, the casuals, people who don't really care about hockey the way we do in this city, but they'll turn them on. Like, this is a story to get people invested in, and I like that angle selfishly as a Flyers fan too.
Yeah, to me, I agree. I did like 3 radio hits today. You know, I'm on with you right now, which is awesome. And you probably love coming on because you know the game. Yeah. But, you know, I'm doing all these hits and stuff because it's a huge story in sports when a 5th overall pick says, I don't want to play in your city, but doesn't have the fucking balls to sit down and look them in the eye and tell them. Like, that takes fucking grapes. Big enough to carry in a fucking dump truck to say, send his people there to say, I don't want to play for you anymore. After saying I was built to be a Flyer. After in the pregame draft or the pre-draft meetings, I would be great in your city. That's why you pick a guy there. There was other guys they could have picked at 5th overall, right? They went with him because he said the right things and performed well in that meeting. So for this to happen, I think it is about the logo. Hunter, I did a thing, the top 5 biggest storylines of the calendar year 2023 for the podcast. Yeah. I had, the trade that didn't happen with Krug says no, Sanheim ends up staying, Provorov Hayes gone, the transition from Fletcher to Briere, Keith Jones, Dave Scott to Dan Hilferty. But I said the biggest story of the year is the fact that the logo in the middle of the ice isn't cut in half by the red line anymore. There's 2 logos there, and that's tongue in cheek, but it's more symbolic that the organization is operating under the standard for which the original owner wanted. And they lost it the last couple of years. There were too many cooks in the kitchen, too many people without the right mindset of tackling certain things. And you can build up culture all you want, but you can tear it down in a minute. It takes years to build. But Keith Jones, Danny Briere, Dan Helfrey recognize that. And it's going, okay, we're going to operate under the standard of being a first-class organization. And we're not going to let this fester. We got an infection. The best way to deal with an infection is to cut it out immediately. To let it linger try and bluff them and say, we'll make you wait 4 years. What good does that do them? That does them no good. It's just bad publicity and a bad situation. So they had to go, okay, this is the hand we're dealt. I'm going to go full Kenny Rogers. You got to know when to fold him. You got to know when to hold him. You got to know when to walk away. You got to know when to run, right?
Yeah.
Shop. They talked to 18 teams.
Crazy.
18 teams. And the other GMs and presidents thought enough of Danny and Jonesy to not let it get out. It's been going on for 5 months.
Yeah, that's a good point. No, that's a good point. We got respect upstairs right now, and that's a beautiful thing. All right, so that's the overhead view. Now let's peel it back a little bit, and I guess there's 2 reasons why I think that it's possible after reading all the stuff out there. One is maybe he's unhappy that they didn't sign him after his freshman year at Boston College, and 2 would be maybe he doesn't like John Tortorella. And to both of those, one, I mean, dude, you're not – okay, I think he's amazing. I just want to make sure that's very clear. The kid's going to score a lot of goals. He's filthy. He's very, very good. But it's not as if you're rocking 4 points a night in NCAA where it's unbelievable to think you're playing there again.
You're not Paul Correa.
Yeah, right. He looks just as good as Will Smith, Ryan Leonard, and those other guys. You don't look like 10 feet or 15 feet better than them. You're in the mix with all the great NCAA players. So one more year, look in the mirror, dude. I mean, you still got work to do.
Yeah, Owen Power was the number 1 overall pick by Buffalo, went back for a second year at Michigan.
Yeah.
To go back and try and win a national championship and knowing that, hey, look, I'm better off going to the NHL, maybe over-ripened than under-ripened. I believe that. I think a guy's body needs to get there a little bit. And, the schedule in college hockey isn't nearly what it is in junior or what it is, obviously, if you're playing in Europe. You only play 35, 40 games.
Yeah, 35 games, I was going to say college.
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing. So there's a lot to learn about and then all of a sudden you're playing with the best players in the world who are men.
Yeah, that too.
Strong. Yeah.
That too. Yeah. It's not AIC on a Saturday night. No disrespect to AIC. I'd play there if I could. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But you're right. Like all of a sudden, like all this time and space you got in college, like don't just like take that down by a little bit. Take that down by about 1,000-fold because now you got none of it. So it's a big jump. So you're better off going in over-ripened than you are under. And I thought that, he had a nice freshman year, but I didn't go, this guy's got it. He's got nothing else to prove in the college game. So I didn't think anything of it. And I mean, they were willing to sign him to his ELC after going into this season, apparently, from reports from Frege. But they weren't guaranteeing him a spot on the roster. You had to earn it. And I guess he didn't want to hear that. So, I mean, there's a lot of entitlement at the USNCDP.
That's crazy. I know, but still, you got to you know what? This sport, and I get it, we're going in a different spot with all these athletes and whatnot. I already brought up Toronto. It's a different world, and I guess now it's finally starting to hit our game, which we're not accustomed to. Normally, it's I'll do anything for the boys, for the boys, for the boys. It's not that way anymore, and I'm okay with guys wanting their money and wanting a big contract and all that, but this is different. If you're not going to speak to the best in the game that have played before you, you're flipping the entire hockey world off. This is more than just entitlement. This is disrespectful to the greats. It's to a whole new level. It's almost impossible to think that this is real. That's how crazy of a story this is.
It sounds like a Stephen King novel or John Grisham. Like somebody like with a severe, like crazy creative mind came up with this. You go, oh yeah, that's a fun book to read, but fuck, that's never going to happen in hockey. But it is, like, you're right. Like, I mean, that's why these character red flags to me are just so alarming. And look, I hope that he can get it together and have a great career out in Anaheim. And whether Zegras stays there or not, but I mean, they got some good players. I mean, Tavish in the middle. He's going to be a winger there, by the way. You're not going to play in the middle.
Yeah. Well, that changes.
Carlson.
That changes a lot for me because even if he was to be here, I remember telling myself, if you do kick him to the outside, he'd still be phenomenal. But you lose so much value. You kind of envision him being a 1C. So if he is a winger, less of a sting, but I still think with your power play struggle, he does what Ovechkin does on the other side of the ice. And he scores from almost inside the blue line on one-timers. He scores so far out.
Yeah.
I've never seen this.
I don't know if he would score from some of those distances at the NHL, obviously, but it is pretty insane, his ability and deception with his release and all of that, to score the way he has in college and in international too.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
So
it's
real
not
quick though, I want to
yeah.
get your thoughts on the Torts thing. Everyone I know who's played for Torts loves him. You could point out was it Dubinsky? You could point out your 4 or 5 guys that are very vocal
Sean
about their
Avery, but
time.
like, am I going to trust Sean Avery on anything?
No,
Yeah.
the dude was fighting for his career, and I'm sure there were a lot of coaches that were up his ass, So
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it a Torts problem? I can't. Torts is guys love playing for Torts. They do. They do.
Yeah. The narrative on Torts doesn't match the reality on Torts. Jamie Drysdale was asked about it today at his media availability, and he said, "Yeah, I've heard the public narrative, but he goes, I talked to a bunch of guys that have played for him, and they all say he's a great guy. He's very black and white. You'll know exactly where you stand, and as players, that's like the ultimate respect you could show us. Like, I don't want to guess what you think of my game. I'd rather know every time I show up to the rink. And one thing you know about Torts is he will be brutally honest with you, and you'll never wonder. So you take that part out of the equation. The other thing is with Drysdale too is, he's not the hallmark of his game is not defending. He's a great skater and he's got great offensive instincts. And Torts said, "We're going to teach him offense here before we teach him because I need him up the ice more."
Yeah,
which sounds so bizarre, right?
Torts goes, "I'll teach him how to play defense." I love that line. Yeah.
Because the first thing I'm going to tell him though is you got to get up the ice. And I imagine like Drysdale, like, "Hey, it's John Tortorella. I need you up the ice more." Fucking Drysdale's probably like, "Are you serious?"
I'm calling my agent right away, dude. You can't believe how we started this call.
Yeah, where have you been my whole life? They're all telling me to stay back, But Brad Shaw and Torts to teach him the defensive, elements of the game. Like, how good a job has Brad Shaw done? Like, honestly, I mean, go back to the Columbus days with Werenski, with Torts too, and Brad Shaw, and then I mean, look what he's done here to transform Travis Sanheim's game, to develop Cam York. You look at the game of Sean Walker to some extent. Now gets up the ice.
He saved Ristolainen's contract for the short term.
Big time. And I mean, he's made Nick Seeler a top 4 defenseman that you don't worry about. I mean, it's bananas. Zamula's starting to show some signs of development. They do a great job with developing. And all those guys are different. And if you want to look at a comparable, like, of a guy that they've developed that's kind of similar to Drysdale, look at Werenski. I mean, he hasn't found a rush attempt that he doesn't like. And Torts has got to let him go. You got to be like, I can't pin that part of your game down or I'm wasting your most valuable asset. We got some non-negotiables this side of the red line. But if you're up there, like, you got to go. And that's what makes you dangerous. It makes you great. And I think Torts has evolved. And I think the public feeling about it, I don't think that played into it. Because I know the Cutter went right up to him when he came to the facility for the first time and introduced himself and told him how excited he was to play for him. So I don't think that plays in. I think it's kind of like the low-hanging fruit, easy one to go to, but I don't think it's a real thing.
Okay. All right. No, I mean, I prefer it not being the real thing because I feel like that is an issue, even though he's not here anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
How much would you have loved to play for a guy like Torts? Like, seriously.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I worked like that, I mean, there's probably an in-between, probably somewhere in between Nick Sirianni and John Tortorella is maybe more of my happy medium.
Your sweet spot.
Yeah, somewhere in between that. But I have a nitpicky piece of criticism, and I actually think I'm asinine to say this, so I'm letting you know that prior. All right, if you know Cutter Gauthier has these problems with your organization, right, and you're heading into last year's draft, and you're on that pick where you went with Oliver Bach, knowing that Gauthier is saying, "I don't want to be here," I feel like that makes it even worse that you leave Perreault on the board because there's an offense. Now, you don't know what you're going to get back in return if you do trade Gauthier. You don't know if it's a defenseman like you got. So I'm being a little way too hindsight right here in front of my face. But, man, I wanted Perreault. So maybe I'm being like a selfish bastard knowing I wanted that. What are your thoughts on that take?
I don't think you're out of line in asking that at all because we are sitting here in hindsight. Yeah. And Bonk is a right shot. I don't think Bonk is ticketed to be a top number 1. I think he's more of a second pair. Let's see how he develops in London. He's going to get good professional development there, right, with the Hunter brothers. So that's part of it. And to me, I don't think you can ever have too many right side defensemen that are NHL legit because you want to trade something and get something. That's the unicorn, right? So I think that I mean, in total hindsight, you go, okay, now you're a bit redundant there with 2 young guys, but that's okay because I think you can move it somehow. But Perot is a guy that he fills the net, and they need scorers.
He went to New York too. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing that stings.
And Ryan Leonard went where? Washington? Now, you got Mitch Koff. I'm not going to be mad, but Ryan Leonard looks good. That whole line. We'll never see anything like this again on Team USA. I can't imagine.
Oh, no. I mean, just unbelievable. And the thing is, too, is like, what does this addition of Drysdale do? So they filled that need on the D, but now they have the need on the offensive side. So they just kind of swapped one for the other. But now with having a right shot D that's NHL ready now, and is playing tonight or tomorrow night against Montreal. Now, I guess you're going to move Sanheim to the left side, I would think.
Yeah.
You're going to play Drysdale on the right side with Sanheim. You're going to move York down to the second pair, and he's going to play with Sean Walker. Sealer, Zamula will be that third pair left side guy in and out. Mark Stahl, sorry, buddy. And then on the right side on the third pair, I have Ristolainen. But I can trade Walker. I can trade Ristolainen. I can trade Sealer. I have Adard, Ginning, and Emil Andre still. They've already played 10 different defensemen this year. They did that in the first 23 games. I mean, Louis Belpedio played a dozen.
Hey, that poor guy. I thought you know what? When he got waived that one day, I went, huh? Belpedio, I actually liked what he was bringing to the table a little bit.
But so I mean, all said and done, I think they'll play 13 different D this year.
Wow.
All said and done, that's pretty wild, right?
Yeah.
And for a team that's in the mix,
yeah,
playing 13 organizational Ds, crazy.
Okay, so now we're getting a little sidetracked, but I like it. I want to ask you a big picture question now. I know they're trying to sell the message, and they probably will execute it, that we're not getting off of our path, all right? You brought up some of the expiring deals and all. I mean, is that the route? If you're in the mix here and you're third in the Metropolitan, you're flirting with the wild card, whatever, do you try and trade off Atkinson, Walker, and all these guys, or do you try and make a little push and you don't sell assets, but you don't do, I don't know, you don't do anything crazy that would ruin a
You're not adding.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to add. I think that is, I mean, you can say they added a little bit here because they traded, but that's obviously very extenuating circumstances. No, they're committed to the rebuild. I saw Danny 2 weeks ago, I think it was, after I got done taping Torts, and we spent a little time just talking in the hallway, shooting it. They aren't moving off the rebuild. Nope, not going to happen. Because you can get in this league one time and then be out again the next 4 years. In a 32-team league with talent spread so thin, I don't see any chance that they're committed to this rebuild, and they know that they cannot cut any corners and they cannot microwave any assets of it.
Okay.
You just can't. You microwave food, it tastes like microwave food. You microwave a rebuild, it's going to taste like shit. So, yeah, I don't think that they're moving off it at all.
All right, fair enough. That's just me getting excited when they go on.
Well, we get nervous, right?
Dude,
we've
that
been there.
game, that Saturday afternoon game against Calgary, here I am in my living room. This is fucking hockey, boys. Yeah. This is fucking hockey. We haven't had that in a long time.
Brodes, dude, the fucking barn was packed, ceiling to floor. And Calgary fans can't just jump over and raid your building and fill it up. I mean, they're fucking Calgary. It's Alberta, right? You can't do that. It was legit Flyer fans from the ceiling to the floor. Same thing with the Columbus game last week. Those two teams went out and they fucking traded and just beat the shit out of it. I wish they played them again next week.
That was honestly an ugly loss, though. That was the worst loss of the season.
I mean, the Calgary game, though, that game was legit, right? Huberdeau and the hit from Lindholm on York, which I didn't like. But the response by a guy like fucking Farabee
does
way more than,
he does that. He does that.
Scrappy.
Yeah, he does. TK short-handed.
How about this fucking cat, right? Short-handed?
Well, here's the problem. All right. By the end of this thing, first off, it's amazing that they're even in this position without a power play, but that's just killer. You cannot.
Maybe Drysdale helps that.
Maybe. Yeah, Zamula's been taking a step too, but this is the thing, right? How can you keep this PK up? It's almost like the PK being this great is evening out how bad the power play is, but you can't. It's demoralizing being on that bench, getting a man advantage. That can't happen. Think about what McDavid and Draisaitl feel like when they go, all right, let's go out there and tie this puppy up.
Yeah.
This is too much hard working. And I know when you're struggling, it's easy to put shots on net and get some big guys in front and tip and all. But, this is the NHL. You're telling me TK, Couturier, and Farabee can tic-tac-toe the puck around and find someone wide open in the slot on a 5-on-4? It just blows my mind it's this bad.
Yeah. To me, they're missing the one element, and that's the alpha. It's just it's the mentality of, okay, like when Drew was here, we're going to get the puck in. We're going to down below the circle. We're going to set up. And you're going to give the puck to me. Me, right here. Because guess what? I'm running it. It was the alpha. It runs off the half wall with me. So let's get in. I don't care how we get in. We get set up. I'm over here on the left half wall. That's where you're going to get the puck to. Because I'm going to run it. Because it's my fucking power, not your power, my power play.
Yeah, maybe we have
that guy.
Maybe we have it now. Maybe we do.
Yeah, I don't love running it from the point though.
Yeah,
I'd rather run it off the half wall.
Yeah, same.
Gives me more high-low plays or low-to-high plays.
Unless you have a Victor Hedman or something, then by all means, I'll sit back and let you do your thing, big guy.
Pick up the phone. Tampa, you in the mood?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that'd be nice.
We'll trade you bunk.
Yeah. Wait, no, who's Oliver Bunk? No, Barkey. Right?
Yeah, yes.
Denver. Is his name Denver?
Barkey.
Denver. That kid's light. Is he in the Q or the O or whatever? He's lighting it up.
He's in London.
He's in London as well. That's right.
Looks like he's got a jetpack on his ass the way he moves. He flies.
Well, between, he's one of the dark horses, obviously, that everyone's in love with. But you know who I like? I think he got sent back to juniors, maybe. But 7th rounder, Alexis Jean-Jean. Is that what is that? Yeah, give me some of that. Yeah, Jean-Jean.
Yeah.
The dude just flies out there. I don't know where he's at now. I think
Drummondville, I think.
Okay, so Lehigh did send him a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got some stuff to learn. I mean, these goalie prospects they have with.
In Russia.
Oh my! The Zagrevin. Do you see the numbers he has?
Yeah, it makes no sense. Now we have too many goalies. I love Urson.
Yeah, I do too. I love them all. I mean, I think Kolosov is almost I can't miss at this point. We'll see about Carson Bjarnason. I think he's got a lot of work to do, but he's got a lot of raw skill and he's got size. But this Zagrevin guy is, the numbers are a total mindfuck. Like, he's got a goals against average less than 1.
That's crazy.
In like 12 games. Not a save percentage above 960.
That's like me playing street hockey in the Milek pads.
That is, right? The old school Milex. Yeah.
Unreal.
Catch that orange hard one in a cold day right in the armpit.
Oh, dude, I use the baseball. I love the baseball glove. Oh, yeah. With a Dominic Hasek mask. The old high-tech buckets, maybe. All right, we're getting way too out of control. All right, how about this? I want to ask you on did we talk about the Kevin Hayes thing or no? I don't even remember if we did.
We touched on it, yeah.
Okay, here's my thing on the Kevin Hayes thing, though. Yeah. Okay. He probably shared his poor experience. I might have said this word from word about 15 minutes ago. I don't even remember. But, we didn't even drink, by the way. I swear. We did not drink with this. He may have said some bad things about his experiences or whatever, but there's no way it can influence him to the point where he's pulling the strings he's pulling, right? I just can't buy that. And he's making comments to kind of clear his name a little bit. Apparently, he texted Danny Briere. I heard Jones. So I feel there's something that he's trying to. Come on, I didn't do it, and I kind of believe him.
Yeah, I don't think he. I think when he left here, he was actually fine with it. I think he understood it. So, and the relationship with Torts, I think, was more overblown than anything else. I think he understood it wasn't his player. It wasn't, the time windows of career didn't match up with what we were doing in Philadelphia. So I think he understood that. And I just don't think that he's the. Look, Hazy's a lot of things, a precocious personality, all that, but I don't think he's the guy is going to poison a well. I think he genuinely enjoyed his time here. So I doubt that he would do that.
Yeah. Okay.
And then here's sense to me.
Yeah. No, I do too. I think that's how much you have to be in someone's ear to influence them to that extreme of what was happening. I find that hard to believe. All right, here's my last one here, and it's about what happened at camp when he no-showed. And I remember, dude, my comments were filled with he had to pay out of pocket, and I said, listen to me right now. This is the National Hockey League. When you are a hockey player, there's one thing in your mind every single day when you wake up. It's I want to play in the National Hockey League.
Yeah.
You don't
Singular and focus.
Come on, man. You're not messing around because it's your second year or you played too much hockey lately. This is the National Hockey League. If you're going to take over a franchise and be a leader and be a Mitch Koff and be the guy who wears the logo and people want to go watch, you show the hell up. You're not doodling around here because you got to pay out of pocket because it's your second year out of college. That's a joke. I remember laughing. I said, there's a red flag here.
Yeah.
Pay attention. And now here we are.
Well, the red flag was confirmed too by Danny. And also when Danny said, I don't know why he's not here at the time. That was the first like kind of ember that we saw. In hindsight, we go, okay, now that makes sense. But you're right. Look, if I got a team that drafts me 5th overall, go to the student union building in BC, fill out a fucking credit card application and put one on the arm. You know what I mean? I'm going to pay it back. I'm going to be a fucking millionaire in like 2 years. You know what I mean?
Agent, the team, someone would have figured that out. I promise you.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So, all right, look, those are my thoughts. I just wanted to get your thoughts as well.
Yeah,
so,
great stuff.
Yeah, man. That's where we're going to wrap this puppy up. 30 minutes in and out, bada bing, bada boom. Hope everybody enjoyed their day. I'm hitting stop right now.